Whatever the occasion, effortless elegance is right this way. Because Hilton brings you new ways to stay courtesy of the Nomad London. And it doesn't stop at award-winning dining in a space draped in velvet and illuminated by vintage chandeliers. No, this day goes beyond with unparalleled personalized service and attentive hospitality. Oh, and did we mention the Nomad London can be booked using your Hilton Honors points at Hilton.com? Hilton, for the stay.
So, you just started using LinkedIn Premium. Now what? Well, on your premium company page, you noticed around 7.5 times more page engagement and 5 times more page views. Well done. And now, new clients are messaging you. All because you're using LinkedIn Premium, which helps you get the business growth you want. Think big, small business. Think big. Start your free trial at linkedin.com/premium small business. That's linkedin.com/premium small business.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. I hope you're all doing well. I feel like this week's podcast episode is going to be a little bit of a catch up because I haven't really done a good chatty kind of what I've been up to lately. I've got a few story times for you all. So one of them is going to be about how my horse Joey escaped. I'm also going to be talking about how I saw the King this week, as well as celebrity spotting at the Chelsea Flower Show. So there's a lot to talk about, a lot to update you on about the animals, about everything. But first, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. And I know I said this in last week's podcast episode, but I'm going to say it again because I cannot wait, because I'm actually going back to Red Post, to their shop in Devon for a meet and greet. So that is going to be on, is it Saturday, Sunday? Saturday, the 23rd of August. I'll be there. Just turn on up. For more information, go to my website, thisesme.com. But yeah, it's just going to be a lovely chilled day where I'm going to be at the shop. We can have a little chat. Also, because it's in Devon, would definitely recommend, if you're British or even if you're abroad, that is one thing that blows my mind. I've had people from Australia fly over to come and see me at meet and greets, which is wild. But Devon, I would recommend as a holiday destination. It's beautiful there. Also, the Red Post shop does have the best cafe, the milkshakes, the ice cream, the scones or scones. Scone or scone, let me know in the comments if you're a scone or a scone person, because I feel like that's going to cause some drama, whatever way you say it. I say it's a scone until it's scone. Anyway, moving on. But yes, come down, come and see me at Red Post. Also, as I said before, if you want to do some online shopping, go and check out their website at redpostequestrian.co.uk. Anyway, let's get into today's podcast episode, because the last couple of ones I said before, they've kind of been me talking about a topic, when now I feel like it's like being with a friend on FaceTime or on a phone call, catching up, because there's a lot to update you on. Because the last kind of like chatty one I did was all about my trip to the US, and since then I've been back for like 2 and a bit weeks now, and I feel like there's a lot to update you on. So first off, I need to tell you this story that I forgot to say in that podcast, but to be fair, that episode was a long one. I was talking for about an hour. But anyway, my horse Joey, he escaped, and you might be thinking, Esme, how has this happened? What happened? Give me the lowdown. So anyway, when I go on a longer trip away, like when I was out in the States, my horse Joey, he goes to my friend's house. So we call it boot camp, where my friend very kindly looks after him and rides him, because he's a slightly bigger horse. You know, he's 16.1, 16.2, and hands high. And my mum, who very kindly looks after my animals while I'm away, she's not horsey. She is like 5 foot something. She's barely 5 foot. She is tiny, and she's not horsey. And little Duke, my little rescue from Wildlife Welfare, he's fine. Casper, we've had him for 11 years. She's fine with him. But Joey, he's a big softie. He's probably the easiest out of all of them, to be honest. But she is not scared of him. But it's just easier if he goes away and my friend looks after him, which is great, because it means that he gets all the love, attention, care that he needs. Joey has a girlfriend, just saying. When he goes to my friend's yard, he has a girlfriend that he goes and sees. So he has quite a nice time. He has a little holiday. We call it his little holiday. And it also means that he is still ridden and exercised, because at the end of the day, he's a sporty horse, and he likes to be ridden. When Casper, he's a little bit more chilled. He's an old guy now. Like, Casper's 19. Time has flown by so quickly. They grow up so quickly. But Casper, being a pony and being Connemara, he's a bit more chilled. You can give him a week of not being ridden, a week's holiday, and he comes back chilled, fine. When Joey, he likes to be in work, and it's a good thing to get his energy out. So anyway, he goes to my friend's house where he's very, very well looked after. But on the day that we were going to pick him up, we landed at like 8 a.m. in the morning. I can't remember if this was the day that we landed or if it was the day before. But anyway, I get this text from my friend being like, you know, we always kind of joke that when Joey goes to his auntie's, that he always comes back with some bad habits. No, we're joking. She's lovely, but we always joke that there's always something. There's always something with that horse. Honestly, he's got a big personality. But anyway, for some reason, he managed to get out of his stable that morning, and thought it would be really good fun to trot up and down the yard, up and down the stables, and terrorize all the horses, properly winding them up, going kind of like, no, I'm out of my stable, like, and just going in their personal space. And honestly, like Joey, we always describe him as, he would be that schoolboy at the back of the class, swinging on his chair, disrupting everything. Like that is probably Joey. So anyway, that's what he was doing. He was winding up all his friends. So yeah, anyway, she was probably quite glad for us to take him home. Apart from that, she said he was very well behaved. When he was ridden, he was a very good boy. It was an absolute pleasure to have. So that's what we like to hear. Apart from him, I don't know how he managed to get out of his stable. That horse is clever. That is one thing that I will say, he is very clever. Anyway, moving on. So that's a little Joey update for you all, because I knew that that's the first thing you want to hear about, is how on earth he managed to get out of his stable. I don't know, but anyway. The last couple of weeks, I have been busy. I tell you what, the last couple of days, oh my gosh, I have been flat out. So Thursday, I had an evening event in London, got home about 2 a.m. Then Saturday and Sunday, I've been at the Royal Windsor Horse Show. And then yesterday I was at the Chelsea Flower Show. So I have been like non-stop, like another event. And today it's going to be, I was going to say it's going to be my chill day. It's I'm not putting too much pressure on myself. Obviously, I'm here bright and early. Like, I've been waking up at 5 a.m. every morning. So I'm here because my brain, after I've been waking up at 5 a.m. for so long, for so many days in a row, my brain just goes, okay, Esme, it's the morning now. I know you want to lie in. But anyway, so I was like, yeah, let's get the podcast episode done. The ball is still rolling. I'm still going. I will probably have a nap today, and probably as many coffees as my dad, which you guys know is probably quite a lot. But anyway, I'm definitely a morning person. Anything past 7 p.m, I just don't function. If it's in the morning though, I'm great. My brain is awake and I'm ready to seize the day. Anyway, talking about horse shows, if you want to know when my next horse show is, I'm going to be at the Bolesworth International. If you want to come and say hi, especially as I know that I apologise, I don't do many meet and greets further up north in the country. So shout out to all my northerners, because I am going to be at Bolesworth, which is further north. I'm going to be there let me get this correct. So I'm going to be at Windsor on Sunday, the 26th of June. So it's coming up soon. That is my next meet and greet in the UK. If you want to come and say hi. So the show at Bolesworth, oh my goodness, it is like the weekend of horse sport, motorsport. So if you're thinking, oh, I want to take my boyfriend, but he's not very horsey, but he's into cars, take him along, because they have supercars. It's going to be awesome. Also, if you're thinking, oh, I want to go, but my dad needs to take me, take your dad along if you like supercars, because yeah, it's going to be epic. Last year I did the ride and drive, and oh my gosh, that was so much fun. One of the best classes, because somebody basically goes round, jumps a show jumping course, and then somebody else jumps in a car and has to like go round all the cones. And I'm not gonna lie, I was very good at that last year. Just saying. So if you want to come along, want to come and say hi, I'm going to be doing meet and greets and signings. Again, if you want more information about my meet and greets and signings, go to my website, thisesme.com. See you guys there. Anyway, I need to get back on course. I'm very good, as you guys know, in my podcast of going off topic. So first off, let's talk about my event that I had on Thursday, because that was a very cool event. So I was very, very honoured to be invited by the King's Foundation to go along to their under 35 celebration, which was awesome. So it was, honestly, I was surrounded by lots of very successful people. So everyone was so fascinating and interesting to talk to. So there were some people there that were super arty. So the King's Foundation is all about kind of, it's all about, well, I'll describe it as keeping traditional crafts alive, as well as looking at solutions to the future for the environment and the planet and all that kind of stuff. So there were some people there that were super arty. They'd done these incredible things, such as like pottery, and there were some people that did like these stained glass windows. There were so many different like really cool art things. As you can tell, I'm not a very arty person, so I'm describing this in the best way possible. There was one lady that we talked to, and she had the most beautiful cardigan I've ever seen, and she had knitted it all using wool from sheep that she'd reared, and incredible. There was also one of the coolest guys I ended up chatting to was an architect, and he's managed to figure out a way on how to build houses that is a lot better for the environment. There's a lot less CO2 emissions. So he was really fascinating. There were some people that were very into like traditional homes and talking about how to preserve like historic buildings. There was a lady who was all into gardening and how to make gardens that are good for insects. And there was just so many cool people. So that was a very, very lovely evening. Honestly, the amount of people that I ended up chatting to, by the end of the evening, they were trying to shuffle us kind of out of the building. They were like, okay, we're turning the lights off, guys. You need to get out now. So we actually ended up going to the pub afterwards, which was great fun. Had a long chat with them. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh my gosh, is that the time? So we had to quickly skedaddle. And I don't know, maybe I don't normally say skedaddle, but it's quite a good word, isn't it? Skedaddle was definitely the word of the evening, because we had to skedaddle out of there because we had to get our train back home. If not, I would have been stranded in London, and that would not have been good. So anyway, probably got home about 2 a.m, which is, if you have listened to the podcast many a times, you'll know that is very out of character for me. I like to be in bed by 9 p.m, have a nice early night, reading my book, go to sleep early morning the next day. So I feel like that definitely got me a little bit kind of, I don't know, like out of rhythm. Like my body clock was just like, Esme, what is happening? Why am I awake when the moon is out? I don't know, like, anyway, so had Friday to kind of have a little bit more of a chill I say a chill day. It was still a work day for me because, you know, all the admin, editing, all that kind of stuff, business meetings, that kind of thing. But it was a bit more of a chilled one. And then after that, it was the Royal Windsor Horse Show. And you might be thinking, oh, King's Foundation, was the king there? Is that when you met the king? No, he was not there, but he was at the Royal Windsor Horse Show where I did get to see him. So basically, I am very lucky. Well, I was working for the horse show, doing meet and greets. Again, everybody who came, you were also lovely, had such a lovely time. But when I work at horse shows, I spend a lot of the time in the media centre or the press centre. But at the Royal Windsor Horse Show, the vibes are a little bit different, because normally at these, like, I go to a lot of horse shows, and normally at these horse shows, I see my besties, I see my friends, you know, there's a lot of photographers that me and my dad are good friends with that we chat to or know. We see them at everyone, we have a little catch up. It's like, you know, normally with my job, it's just kind of me at home in the office. So it's quite nice going to horse shows, having that kind of camaraderie anyway. But the media centre was a little bit kind of, it was a bit cliquey almost, because it was kind of like one side of the media centre was us lot, the horsey folk that go to the horse shows, us and our best buddies. And then the other side was the paparazzi. Now, these were the sort of guys that they were there taking photos of the famouses that go to the Royal Windsor Horse Show. And it was a very weird, kind of weird dynamic, because there'll be all the paps there with their, like, they had some long lenses. That's all I'm gonna say. Us horsey folk, we do have some long lenses, but they had the longest. Anyway, so we had this kind of murmurings that the king was going to be there today and where he was going to be at what time. So we were like, okay. So Dad and I were like, we're gonna follow the paps. We're gonna see where they go, because they don't know how. They've somehow got the intel of who's going to be where at what time. So anyway, Dad and I felt like such stalkers. We were like, oh, let's go and see. We're like, oh, there's a little circle of paps over there. Let's go and see what they're doing. Anyway, so if you want a little down low when you're at horse shows or events, see where the paparazzi are, and then you might be able to do some celeb spotting. Anyway, so we're like, okay, we'll go to this area. We're like standing there for a little while, and then these big kind of tall middle-aged men came along in suits and sunglasses and little earpieces, and they were just kind of like just standing around, just kind of milling around. And we're like, okay, I feel like, if most general public walking by, not really noticing it, but we had the intel, we knew. And then they were just kind of, look inside the bins, have a little look, see if there's anything dodgy in there, and then just move the bins out the way, which, a normal person, you wouldn't really do that. And we're like, okay, and then have a little talk on their little earpiece or their little phone, being like, okay, yep, coast is clear, like that kind of thing. It felt like I was in like a little movie, watching kind of all the behind the scenes, and then like a few more people were kind of like crowding around, and then it got to the stage where, because there were a lot of the officials from the show, they were kind of like standing around, and then a lot of people just, in the UK, you guys know it's the UK, it's the British culture, we love a queue. So what happened? We're like, oh, some people are kind of queuing up here, there's a little something going on. Oh, we'll just stand in the queue and see what happens. There were people, and they were like kind of talking like, what's happening here? What's happening? I don't know, but let's just wait and see. Let's just find out. They could have been queuing for anything. They could have been queuing to get a sausage roll or something, but no, they were just, everyone's just like, oh, what's happening here? Maybe there's interesting class going on. Maybe it's the one to watch. Anyway, so this little group had appeared, and then there was this one man who was definitely part of the kind of security, and he had like a little mini wheelie suitcase, and the whole time I was just thinking, what is in that suitcase? Still to this day, I want to know what's in that suitcase, because I was like, oh, mate, I don't know, is it some weapons, like in case he needs to protect the, I don't know, what, like, just a suitcase seems like such a random thing to have. But anyway, there was a guy with a suitcase. I thought add that into the podcast story, saying we're all waiting around, and there was a few people being like, oh, they kind of, maybe it was like, oh, it's, because the Royal Windsor Horse Show, it is literally in the royal family's garden, because it's that Windsor Castle. So I think a few people probably like, oh, is it the king? Is he coming? Is someone from the royal family coming? Anyway, then this big helicopter ends up landing. We're like, that must be him. Anyway, we're waiting around, like 10, 15 minutes later, we hear some of the security guy, okay, we're going for route one. And we were, honestly, we were chatting away. We were thinking, oh my goodness, there must have been like a whole day's preparation of security plans, backup plans. What if, things go wrong? Like, what's the backup plan? Anyway, and then blacked out Range Rover drives up. Everyone gets out of the way. And then a guy comes out the front, opens the back door, and out he comes. King Charles. And it was, I don't know how to describe it, but it was the most British entrance you could ever imagine. Because I felt like in some countries, some people would just all go silent. So everyone would bow. Some people would cry. But us lot, we didn't really know what to do, because some people didn't even know it was the king that was arriving. So what did we do? In proper British fashion, like somebody had dropped a pint in a pub, we all just went, way, like a little cheer. Like, some people were silent, some people went like away, some people clapped, and it was just like I think it was like a very kind of awkward, polite kind of just away. Anyway, so that was an interesting exit. He just came, did his little wave, and then went into his royal box and watched a bit of the showing. And what was quite funny was we were chatting away, and someone was talking to me, and they're like, oh, is he horsey? And I was like, well, I know that his wife is very horsey. I was like, it's like all couples here at the Royal Windsor Horse Show. It's the horsey girlfriends dragging along the non-horsey boyfriends. So anyway, but no, so that was a little bit different. A lot of like my friends, when I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to the King's Foundation thing this weekend, they were like, oh, do you think you'll see the King? And I was like, oh, I don't know, he's probably very busy, that kind of thing. And then I go and see him at the weekend. Oh no, well, I wasn't expecting to, but anyway, there we go. So now, because I feel like that's one thing. Whenever I talk to people from foreign countries and I say that I'm British, a lot of the time they say, oh, have you met the royal family? Well, now, I've properly met the Queen, not to flex on you all, but if you do want to listen to that podcast episode after this, you can hear all about it. I wouldn't say I've properly met the King, didn't shake his hand, didn't, say, hi, I'm Esme, nice to meet you, fella. That is not how you introduce the royal family, but you know what I mean. It wasn't like a proper introduction, but I was about 3 meters away from him, I'd say. So there we go. That's something fun to say. So yeah, that evening I actually went out for my friend's birthday meal at the pub, and they were like, oh, what have you been up to, Esme? Or he's up to something interesting. I was like, oh, saw the King today. So anyway, that was my week. That was my weekend. But no, Windsor is a lovely show, and it was lovely seeing the driving. That's always good fun, and seeing you guys, and I don't know, it's a very civilized vibe. That's what I say. Like, everyone gets a little bit dressed up, and it's nice and chill. There are some horse shows where it's a little bit of a elbows out bum fight, but Royal Windsor Horse Show, it's very lovely, very demure. Anyway, because I feel like that's such an old phrase. Me and my family, we still say that. Or my dad does anyway. He's like, oh, very demure, and I'm like, Dad, you need to stop saying that. It's past it now. And I feel like when your parents start saying stuff like that, that's when you know that it's not really the phrase to say anymore. Anyway, I'm sorry, my dad. Anyway, moving on. And then after that, went to the Chelsea Flower Show, which when my dad picked me up very early that morning in the car to go to that, by that stage, oh my gosh, you do not want to see what my bedroom looked like, because all of the shows that I've been to are close enough that I probably shouldn't stay at a hotel, and then obviously it's nice to get back to the horses and do them and that kind of thing, horse care, but probably not far enough to stay at a hotel, but far enough away that it feels like a long car journey. You have to get up very early in the morning. So by this stage, my bedroom looked like a bomb had gone off. Honestly, dresses, clothes, shoes, makeup, where I've been like getting ready first thing in the morning, bit delirious at 5 a.m. Anyway, went to the Chelsea Flower Show, which second time I've been. I was very lucky that I got to go there on Media Day, because I've heard, last year apparently, Media Day, we were so lucky. We had the sun, glorious heat last year. It was basting, it was boiling, and then it rained the rest of the week. But I have had friends that have gone on the kind of general public day, and they've kind of gone, oh, it's quite busy. Like, you can almost not really see stuff, when on Media Day, it's great because it's just the press there. So not only are you kind of walking around and get to see a lot of it, being a little bit less busy, but also you get to see some interesting people as well, because everyone there is either a journalist, some sort of social media gal, I'm in that category, or they're working for like the BBC or a news presenter or doing actual filming for different things. So it was very cool. So there are certain events where, I don't know what it is, my dad is very he's not a fashion guy, but as I said before, we spend a lot of time together, so he's basically a girl in his early 20s because the music that he has to listen to and just chatting to me all the time. So before events, he's like, oh, what are you going to wear? What are you going to wear? What's going to look good? And for this event, he was like, Esme, I want you to dress to the max. The outfit needs to be not just a 10 out of 10. It needs to be like a, who's that person? So anyway, I feel like my outfit, I'm not going to lie, I think it might be one of my best outfits yet. I'm not going to, I don't want you to be like, Esme, you're tooting your own horn here, but this outfit, let me tell you, I pulled it out the bag at 5 a.m. Sometimes 5 a.m. when you're getting dressed, they're the best outfits, because I don't know, normally I'm a very much type A person, which is very organised, very like, I know my outfits like a month in advance, I know my calendar a month. By the end of this week, where I've just been exhausted, I was like, okay, I'll figure out something. So it was a dress that I'd worn to 2 different events already, but the way I styled it, I got another use out of it. People don't even, reworn the dress once again. To be fair, it's one of my favourite dresses. So this dress is kind of got like a pleated skirt to it, and then the top kind of almost looks like a trench coat. I think that's the best way to describe it. It's not trench coat material. It's like a nice linen material, and it's a really interesting colour because it's kind of like it's cream, yellow and green all at the same time. I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like a sorbet colour. I think that's the best way to describe it, but it's like a pastel colour. Pastel colours are my favourite. And also earlier on that week, you guys know me, I love a good little TK Maxx trip. So I did a TK Maxx trip that Monday because I thought I've got a lot of events where I need to be dressed smart, where I want to wear heels, but all of my heels are like heels. And if I'm walking around basically London for multiple days, I don't want to be wearing my high ones. So I got myself some cute little kitten heels from TK Maxx. Don't worry, this is part of the story. This is some context for you all. So anyway, I was wearing those and had a little cute little black Fairfax favourite belt, bag, and then I had this sun hat that I've had for, I can't even remember, I think I bought it at some sort of show or some sort of event, I don't know, but it's like a proper old-fashioned straw hat with the black ribbon, so the black detailing kind of went with everything, and I probably looked like I stepped out of the 1940s or something, but it was a look, and with my little black sunglasses as well. I didn't realise this, but apparently as I was walking, like when I was on the train or walking around London, my dad said that I was getting a lot of stares, and we thought, oh yeah, like obviously I'm dressed like I've just walked out the 1940s or whatever. People are going to stare. Most people on their daily commute are not wearing a full-on floor-length dress and massive sun hat. But I feel like in London you can get away with wearing anything, because people would probably look at me and be like, oh, she's probably going to some sort of event, or if you're wearing something a bit more casual, like, oh, maybe they've just got off a flight. You know, I feel like in London anything goes, really. So I was walking around and I thought, oh, like I do stick out a little bit. It's not your normal thing that you see on your commuter train first thing in the morning. But then this outfit was obviously so out there that I was getting stares at the Chelsea Flower Show. Now, I don't want to, you know, sound like I'm self-obsessed or anything, but it was weird because I was like, there's all these celebrities walking around. Like, I saw Paul Hollywood from Bake Off, saw him milling about, saw lots of kind of weather presenters, TV people. But then what happened was, because obviously my dad, #professional photographer, he was there, you know, press pass, big camera, that kind of thing, taking pictures of me. And then people would come up and be like, oh, can I take your photo as well? I was like, sure, okay, go on then. Wasn't really used to this sort of thing. This is very, like, a little bit different, a little bit out of my comfort zone. And one thing that I learned from this trip, if you want to learn anything, I don't know, that dressing up is a superpower. Because, I don't know, I definitely feel like over the last maybe 3 years, I've had not a little bit of a glow up. I've definitely put more effort into my outfits, my appearance, that kind of thing. And it has been a superpower because you guys probably know I'm a little awkward, can sometimes be a little socially awkward. I wasn't popular at school or anything like that. And my social skills have definitely got better over the years. But I think when you're all glammed up and you're, I don't know, all I'm saying is pretty privilege is definitely real, and I definitely experienced that at this event. That, I don't know, people are a lot more forgiving when you're all glammed up, or when it's almost like me putting on my kind of, not war makeup or war paint, but I think that's the best way to describe it. If you look a certain way, then people do treat you differently, which is sad because I think we should all be nice to everybody and all treat each other with respect and things. But I definitely got more respected, more well, that's not proper English. I definitely was treated differently when I was all glammed up, and definitely treated nicer, which is a weird thing to think about. But anyway, so yes, especially as I was very kindly invited to the Chelsea Flower Show with Boodles, who you guys might have heard me talk about them before, but they do very nice, absolutely gorgeous jewellery.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
All right, here we go.
New Phineas and Ferb is here.
We're back, baby.
For 104 more days
I know what we're gonna do today.
of summer vacation.
I am ready for summer shenanigans. Let's do it. Oh, yeah.
We're gonna bust Phineas and Ferb once and for all.
Are we gonna do this again?
New inventions, shenanigans, innators, adventures, and songs.
Brand new Summer vacation.
New Phineas and Ferb starts June 5th on Disney Channel and next day on Disney Plus on DisneyPlus.Disney.com.
Very expensive, but very, very, very nice. So yeah, I was walking around with all of these diamonds on my ears and a beautiful necklace as well. So thank you. Shout out to Boodles. Thank you very much for very kindly dressing me for that. So maybe that also added to the look that I was going for. So anyway, so Dad also with his like waistcoat and things, he got me into places. There was also a power of having a middle-aged man with you as well, because he would just go up to because some of the gardens are kind of cornered off, so only kind of like, I don't know, people like Paul Hollywood or the famous people, or Alan Titchmarsh or the gardeners, only they were allowed in to have like their photo taken, and then they'd be very like escorted out or that kind of thing, or people that were filming for the BBC or that kind of thing were allowed in. So Dad just said, I've got Esme here, can we take some photos in your garden? They were like, yeah, sure, in you come, because they don't want to say no. Like, if you have, I don't know, there's also one thing that I've also learned in my job is don't feel afraid to ask. I mean, I'm a nobody compared to all of these celebrities at this flower show, but if you just go, oh, I've got Esme here, can she come and get a photo? They don't want to say no, because I'm not gonna lie, there were probably a lot of celebrities milling around at this show that I had no idea who they were. Like, I am not good when it comes to celebrities, and I think that's actually probably quite a good thing, because I'll end up chatting to somebody just like they're a mate down the pub, and they'll be some sort of A-lister and I'll have no idea. But I feel like that's better, because you just treat them like a normal human being, because at the end of the day we are just normal human beings anyway. So anyway, Dad was just like, so they were like, yeah, sure, and they were probably racking their brains like, who is this girl, like, oh, who is she? I should know who she is, kind of thing. Well, actually, I'm just Esme. I'm just some horse girl that makes videos on the internet. So anyway, I got to go to some cool places. There was also this one kind of area where I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely the celeb area, because they were all having little cocktails and drinks and that kind of thing, where I saw quite a lot of very cool A-listers anyway. Saw Gemma Collins. If you're British, you'll know who she is, but I feel like she is like one of the top British icons. So anyway, that was quite cool. When my friends were like, who was the like most exciting person that you saw? I mean, I can't really say that. You know, when you like see someone, but you can't really say that you met them, because I didn't actually go and talk to her. She was behind a velvet rope, not for me to go in that kind of area, but I saw her, and that was cool. So my friends thought that was probably the coolest person I saw. But anyway, there was one thing, oh my gosh, one of my favourite kind of flower gardens that they had, apart from obviously the Boodles one, because that was beautiful, but this one was like, I'm gonna see if I can make some short format video of it, because it was a mountain of Bela twine. It was, at first I was like, oh, that's cool, it's like a little pink mountain. That's kind of reminded me of Gooey Geyser from Dora the Explorer, which, if you know, you know. Anyway, it looked like that, just this pink mountain. My brother, as a kid, was obsessed with Dora the Explorer. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, I saw that. I was like, wow, that's cool. And then I got a little bit closer. I was like, oh my gosh, it's Bela twine. I was thinking, I wonder if anyone actually has a Bela twine mountain this big, because it was probably almost twice the height of me. They also had a Bela twine, or some people are going to tell me off for this, because some people say baling twine. I call it Bela twine. Baling twine, Bela twine. I've already caused controversy talking about scone or scone. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I think baling twine is maybe more of an American thing. Maybe that's just me. Anyway, there was a lot of Bela twine, and it was pink, and I sat on a Bela twine throne, and that was very exciting to me. So, especially as I could talk to the person on the stand and be like, oh, I'm Horsey, I know what Bela twine is, when there were probably a lot of city people be like, what's all this pink string? Like, anyway, so that was quite fun. That was probably one of my favourite ones. They also had a really cool, like, desert garden as well, with lots of cacti and succulents, which I thought was very cool. So anyway, that was my time. Also, yeah, another thing that I noticed as I was walking around in my fun outfit was there was more paparazzi and more like photographers at the exit of the horse show, not the horse show, sorry, too many shows in one weekend, my brain's a little bit scattered. At the Chelsea Flower Show, I was walking on out, and this lady was like, oh, you look gorgeous, can I take a photo of you? I was like, oh yeah, sure, thank you very much. You know, I wasn't kind of used to this. So anyway, she took some photos of me, and she was like, oh, I must get down like your name and so anyway, told her my details, told her my socials, and then she was like, oh, can I write down like where everything's from? She was like, so I was like, oh, I was wearing like obviously my Boodles jewelry, and then my Fairfax and favourite bag. Anyway, so that was like my more fancy stuff. And then she was like, oh, where's your dress from? And I was like, Next. Which there's nothing wrong with Next, but it's not like she was like, oh, your shoes Chanel. She like obviously thought I was wearing all this designer gear, when actually I dress bougie on a budget, you know. I feel like you can get some very nice stuff and it looks very fancy if you dress it with the right things. But no, dress was just from Next. And then I mean, Next uses some very nice stuff, I'm not gonna lie, but and then she was like, oh, are your shoes Chanel? And I was like, they're from TK Maxx, and I don't really know what brand they are, but I don't know. I feel like I think it goes to show that you can, if you have an eye for it, you can dress like you're very, very posh and very fancy and like a somebody, when actually my shoes were from TK Maxx. My hat, I was like, oh, I got it from some show or something. And she's like, I'll put it down that it's vintage. And I was like, okay. So anyway, all of the stuff that wasn't, you know, a name brand or very fancy, she was like, I'll put it down as vintage. I was like, okay, that's fine. So anyway, I'm just going to say that next time somebody says, oh, where's your dress from? I'll just say to them, oh, I'm not sure, it's vintage. So anyway, little life hack for you all. Even when we got back to our train station that afternoon, normally, you know, you have your ticket, you put it through the barrier. There was a guy there and he was like, oh, through you go. Like, let me through the kind of disabled access or buggy push chair. If sometimes you have a big case that you through that bit. He just let me through, didn't even look at my ticket. I was like, oh, thank you. And like I said to Dad, I was like, that's kind of when I came to the realisation. I was like, everyone's been very nice to me and has been treating me very differently. Like, I'm not used to this. So anyway, that is a thing. I think there's also like a thing that I've seen online where there's a lot of girls that maybe are like a little bit socially awkward, or I don't know, but they use kind of hyper femininity or just dressing super glamorously kind of as a superpower. So there we go. Try it out. If you feel like it, get super glammed up one day. People do treat you differently. So, which is sad, because again, as I said before, I think everyone should be nice to everyone. But anyway, there we go. That's like a little whistle stop tour of what I've been up to in the last 2 weeks recently, or basically in the last 4 days. The last 4 days have been busy. But anyway, on that note, I'm going to finish off today's podcast episode there. I really hope you enjoyed hearing about what I've been up to, where I've been to, who I've gone and seen. And anyway, and I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you so much again to Red Post for very kindly sponsoring, and thank you for listening. Bye!